What are some of the policies that you hope they are considering in that council?
Well, we have a huge looming crisis with student loan debt that must be addressed. Depending on what number you look at, 1.2, $1.9 trillion in student loan debt. It is robbing our young people and professionals from the opportunity to be fully productive. But it's also a huge stimulus opportunity. If we want to stimulate the economy, free students up, free young people up, free young professionals up from paying $300, $400, $500 a month in student loan payment, that allows them to clean up their credit and fully engage again. Think about all of the teachers and the individuals we want to be in the classrooms who can no longer be in the classrooms because you cannot suppress the wages of teachers and you saddle them with student loan debt. Here's an opportunity to do the right thing so people can do well. In fact, $1.2, $1.9 trillion is equal to the current stimulus that's being considered, and is far less than the other 4 stimulus that were passed and what we gave to corporate America.
So it's actually 1.9 trillion. The high end of that is also the same exact number that was the tax cuts for the rich that Donald Trump passed. So they always say, "Oh no, we don't have money for students." No way. Well, you had money for millionaires, so and now of course the right wing is instantly attacking the Domestic Policy Council. New York Post Michael Barone wrote that the point of it is to judge everyone by the color of their skin. So you just said student loan debt. You didn't say black student loan debt. You said student loan debt for everybody. So, how do you handle these right wingers who constantly attack everything that's going to help the general population by making their racism appear as if it's a racial issue that's a problem for us?
Well, the reverse argument they have used effectively, but just think about this last administration. The first 2 years they controlled both bodies of Congress and the White House. They couldn't get anything done. The next 2 years, they had control of the White House and the Senate. They couldn't get anything done. These are people who cannot get anything done other than criticize what's being done. If you want to have progress, we need to look at ways to ensure that the average American can have a clear opportunity to eke out a positive future for their families, their households, and their communities. Much of what we see on January 6th are a set of individuals who feel disengaged or disempowered because life realities have shifted on them. It's shifted on them because some of the very people they're listening to promote and push policies that's not in their benefit. The average protesters probably are working poor or barely middle income individuals who are out there fighting for America that was 1950s in reality, when we should be fighting for America that look towards 2030. That is a part of how we should approach this, making sure that the minimum wage is at a minimum of $15. If I have my choice, is indexed with inflation. So as the inflation go up, the minimum wage go up. Making sure that job protections are in place and we can ensure that organized labor can spread and not suppress the voice of workers. It is ironic that Japanese companies come to this country, German companies come to this country. They set up auto plants, they set up other plants, and they allow their workers in those countries to organize and collectively bargain. But when they get here, Southern legislators prevent them from doing it for our workers. That's not about race. That's about fairness. That's about growth. That's about taking care of the American workers and ensuring that we have a positive future.
So the NAACP, and Derek, you just said it, you're in favor of higher wages and a higher minimum wage. Okay. I'm just gonna ask it in the absurd way because they really believe this stuff. So you're not saying higher wages only for black people. You're saying higher wages for everyone, right?
Everyone, right? I grew up in Detroit, right? Henry Ford realized that he had to pay his workers a fair wage because the better he paid his workers, the more cars he can sell. He also recognized the change in demographics in the city of Detroit. He had a process where African Americans can come and join the labor force because it is in the best interest of our corporations' growth. You cannot have a set of corporate greedy individuals who are seeking to make profit and not care for the workers, because eventually the workers won't be able to afford the products. There is an opportunity for mutual benefit. We've seen it from the New Deal policies all the way to 1980. We've seen the biggest growth in the middle class. We've seen the biggest growth in our economy. We've seen the biggest growth in opportunities. And that was about public policy and tax policy. That came, then growth happened. What we've seen after 1980 is a retrenching of all of those policies, whether it's the protections around Financial Services Act, the targeting of labor unions, all of those things started under Reagan. And what we begin to see is a drastic shifting of the wealth in this country from the average middle income American to the super rich. Now we have disparities that's akin to the Gilded Period, to the akin to 1925. We have to address that. It's not about race, but race have been used to justify these regressive policies. And for African Americans, we just want to be a part of the growth of this nation and the future prosperity.
It's the least you can ask for, and I don't know how to get it through the heads of right wingers. We're trying to help you. We're trying to lift your wages up. If you're looking for who caused the problem, don't look down, look up. The corporations gave money to the politicians. They're the ones who set the rules so that your wages wouldn't go up. Okay, but I know you've got more hopes and aspirations for the Biden administration. What else would you like them to do?
But first of all, we have to hold accountable those who created the domestic terrorism. But we also need to take a serious look of free public education for all of our children. We will not be competitive in a global economy if we continue to really gut out the quality education for all children. It is a losing proposition to think we can maintain a 1950s style education system for children who need to be prepared for a technological future. It is appalling to see what's taking place in this country when you compare it to Finland, or you compare it to Canada, or you compare it to Japan or Australia, where they recognize they need to be building an economy and a workforce for the future. Therefore, they're educating their young people in that preparation. And we're not. We're thinking that if my district that has been segregated is doing better than the district over there, that's majority other community, then we're doing great. When your district that may be higher performing than the district next door, but it's barely breaking the mid-range when you put it on a global scale. Fannie Lou Hamer had a saying that if you have your foot on my neck in the ditch, we're both in a ditch. And until we get out this ditch, we're both gonna suffer by all of the forces that's around us. And then this economy is not company versus company, it's nation versus nation. This is a global economy, not a national economy, not a state economy.
So, of course, I agree. So let me ask you something else, Derek. Is there anything so far that you've seen from the Biden administration that gives you pause, that has you concerned yet?
It's early. Someone asked that question about a couple of days ago. We haven't even gotten into a month of this administration, where we're 2 weeks out. And so I don't want to have high expectations and then all of a sudden, oh, it's 2 weeks and he hadn't turned over the concrete on 3rd Street. Let's be real here, right? He have all of 5 to 7 of his nominees confirmed at this point. So it's so early in the process. So I am inspired with the fact that he's tapped the most diverse cabinet and perhaps one of the a set of individuals who are really competent and capable. Now let's support and see what happens next.
Yeah, and look, I'm always skeptical of more establishment Democrats, to keep it real, right? But on the other hand, when you look at it, and they sent Vice President Kamala Harris to West Virginia and Arizona to pressure Manchin and Sinema to get COVID relief done, I was very encouraged by that. I thought that's a very strong move by Vice President Harris. What did you think about that?
It shows that she's a skilled negotiator and politician. Here's someone who didn't wake up one day and happen to be African American and South Asian. Here's someone who studies, she knows her craft. She's gotten elected local DA, state of California, state attorney, a U.S. senator, and now she's sitting in the second most powerful seat in the world. She knows what she's doing. She's not there because she's black. She's there because she's good and knows her job, who happens to be black.
Yeah, and one last thing here. Look, I wanted Barack Obama to be stronger, but I knew that he was in a tough spot because he's the first African American president. There's certain expectations, et cetera, that goes along with that, and stereotypes, et cetera. But there's an argument to be made, and I wonder what you think about it, that he bought Kamala Harris the ability to be stronger. And so since he set the stage and he set the precedent, it allows her to now say, okay, let's do this the right way, and let me show you what strength is like.
Well, also what he did was the Obama administration the first 2 years is a lesson that is well learned. You can't negotiate with people who are unwilling to negotiate with you. When you have the power, you better exercise the power. You need to do it swiftly. We have 14 months to make it happen. And I'm sure with the president, vice president, they're going to make it happen in the 14 months that they have.
All right, and the NAACP is the largest and most storied African-American organization in the country, supported in any way that you can. President and CEO Derek Johnson, thank you so much for joining us on TYT again.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.